Now I have few sentences. We need to look at those sentences. How these interrogative sentences are changed from active to passive. That's what we're going to look at now. The sentences are in the interrogative. So the interrogative sentences, we are going to change it from active to passive. For example, when did you write this letter? When did you write this letter? That is the active voice and it is an interrogative question. Now let's change it, passive. When was this letter written by you? When was this letter written by you? We are not changing the question, but we are writing it in the passive voice. So let's study how the sentences we're going to study. We're going to study how the following interrogative sentences are changed from the active to the passive voice, from the active to the passive voice. And that's what we are going to look at, to the passive voice. We're going to look at the interrogative sentences. They're being changed from active to the passive. Let's look at the sentences I have here. Okay. 1. When did you write this letter? That's the first one. When? When did you write? When did you write this letter? And that's in the interrogative. It's an interrogative sentence. When did you write this letter? Active voice. And it is in the active voice. Active voice. Alright? Now we'll have to change this active voice, interrogative sentence, into passive voice. Let's look at it. Okay, when did you write this letter? Answer, when was this letter written by you? When was? When was this letter? When was this letter written by you? When was this letter written by you? And that is in the passive voice. That's in the passive voice. And look at some other. Let's take some other sentence I have here. How did you do the sum? Active. How? How did you do the sum? How? How did you do this sum? How did you do the sum? And that is in the active voice. All right? Now we're going to change this active voice, interrogative sentence, into passive voice. Let's look at it. How did you do the sum? Active, passive will be, how was this sum done by you? How was? How was this sum? How was the sum done by you? Done by you. And that's a passive voice. That's in the passive voice. Okay, another sentence. Let's take another sentence. Why did you abuse her? Why? Why did you abuse her? That's in the active voice. Why? Why did you? Why did you abuse her? Abuse her. That's in the active voice. We're going to change the sentence which is in the active voice into passive voice. Why was she abused by you? Why was? Why? Why was she? Why was she abused by? Why was she abused by you? That's in the interrogative sentence. It's in the passive voice. Okay. I have one last sentence for you. Who taught you English? That's in the active voice. And the answer is, by whom were you taught English? So the fourth sentence. Who taught you English? Who taught? Who taught you English? Who taught you English? That is in the active voice. Who taught you English? That is in the active voice. Now we are going to change that active voice into passive. And how will you change it? By whom? By whom? By whom? By whom were you taught? By whom were you taught English? Interrogative sentence, and that is in the passive voice. By whom were you taught English? And that's in the passive voice. What are we looking at in these? We are looking at the 4 sentences, how all these interrogative sentences are changed from active to passive. First, when did you write this letter? Active voice. How did you do the sum? Active voice. Why did you abuse her? Active voice. Who taught you English? Active voice. So all the active voice, they are all interrogative sentences, and we change them into passive. Now, when did you write this letter? Passive voice. When was this letter written by you? How did you do the sum? Active voice we change. How was the sum done by you? Passive voice. Then, why did you abuse her? Change it to passive voice. Why was she abused? By you. Then the last one. Who taught you English? Active voice and passive. By whom were you taught English?